Hello everybody, welcome to the United Huddle. I hope everybody got some good rest after that incredibly poor performance yesterday afternoon by Manchester United versus Crystal Palace in the Premier League. I am not here to heap on the rant that I did yesterday and the rant that many people were doing, many people feeling emotional, angry, didn't know the direction in which Manchester United was going. So what I did, I thought I was going to watch both matches. The match in the Carabao Cup where Manchester United won the game very comfortably, played very fluently. And then I was also going to watch the Premier League game where Manchester United didn't win, looked lost. People were struggling to see what we were trying to do in the Premier League game. I was also struggling to try to see what we were going to do or what we are trying to do. And, you know, in the moments, especially when you just watch that Premier League game versus Crystal Palace, I agree it's very difficult. I myself couldn't pick out all the issues. And if you watch both matches, the tactics were the same. You can see, if you understand the first game, you can kind of understand the second game and you can see what went wrong and you can see what Ten Hag is trying to build. So I myself am still very far from Ten Hag out. I can see what he's trying to build. And the players need to be executing it correctly. And especially, sorry guys, I just had lunch not too long ago. Especially in the Premier League game, the players, even players that were on the field in the win in the Carabao Cup, there were stuff that they were doing in the Carabao Cup that they were not doing in the Premier League, and it's extremely concerning. I mean, you do expect Erik ten Hag to point it out to them during the game. You do expect him to point it out to them during the game. And he didn't do that too much. And Palace kind of played us in the Carabao Cup, and very smartly, they kind of nullified us in a particular way. And I'm going to be pointing that out within this video. I'm also going to be pointing out what certain players were doing, where we went wrong, where Ten Hag is going wrong. And I just think the team that played in the Carabao Cup, they get it. Those players, they get it. And I'm not saying that if we had picked that team, that they would have won that game. I don't want to point out those narratives. I don't want to be putting out those type of agendas. But they get it. I mean, Crystal Palace was so much better in the Premier League yesterday. But those players, or that team that played in the Carabao Cup, they just got it. So I have my notes from watching both games. I didn't watch, don't think I watched both games fully. I watched the first portion of the game, and then from there I just watched like different portions. I didn't watch the substitutions. I was more concerned about what is plan A, because plan B in the Premier League yesterday was just throw on players, throw on all these creative players, playing with one centre back, Maguire playing a centre back. And I just think the tactics were the same. I don't think Ten Hag is going to move from those tactics. The tactics were the same. The players need to execute those tactics. And this is why Ten Hag needs time. Ten Hag needs patience from us fans. It's going to be difficult. It is going to be difficult, but I guarantee you guys, if we get rid of Erik ten Hag, especially when Manchester United is maybe not fully backing him in terms of getting players out the club, maybe getting all the transfers he wants, but in terms of understanding that he is the authority at the club, he is currently overseeing what needs to happen in the academy. And you can see it with his academy players coming up. You can see he's overseeing what is happening in the academy. And he's also overseeing much of what is happening with transfers. I mean, there's been a reorganization to the academy scouting network. A reorganization now recently. And whenever we have bought a player this season, there's always been leaks coming out of the club, basically saying that this is Ten Hag signing, this is not the club signing. There's also been the leak that there's people in the club that are concerned about Ten Hag's agent getting too involved. And Ten Hag simply said, look, it is me and Murta, and we discussed the transfers, so it's 50-50, and that was agreed at contract stage. So these people, they know they're going to lose their jobs, and this is all Erik ten Hag. He's doing so much. He's doing so much, guys. And I honestly think we should stick through this difficult period, because if we get rid of him, I promise you, we are not just going to move back one season on the pitch. His vision is bigger than that. His vision is way bigger than that. That's why the scouting system and the academy is getting reorganized, because he's looking there and he knows that is the future. Yes, we are going to buy players, but the players that we are going to be bringing up, it's going to be a constant thing. It's going to be a constant thing. And he realizes that maybe Manchester United doesn't have all the money. Maybe we don't have all the money, especially because the Glazers do not reinvest in the money. And on top of that, the Glazers take out money. And the club is also paying off debt. So he understands that. He understands the club. So he's doing so much. So my thing is, if we get rid of Erik ten Hag, we are going to mess up all the good that he's doing, not only in training. And yes, it's difficult to see the good he's doing in training, but also the good he is doing in other portions of the club. Bringing up that academy is crucial to Manchester United. That is the Manchester United way. And maybe he's not doing it because it's the Manchester United way. But at the end of the day, it is the Manchester United way, and we need to recognize it as fans. Anyway, guys. Yes, people, so basically I have to shoot this video in 2 parts. But anyway, let me get back into it. Before I do, if your Glazers out and you're enjoying the content, don't forget to like and subscribe. It is the thumbs up at the bottom of your screen. Anyway, guys, let's actually just speak about what the flip was happening in the Carabao Cup game and what was not happening in the Premier League game. So basically, on the attack, United have 3 up front, 3 at the back, 2 wide, touch wingers, and then and then I think it's 3 midfielders. Let me just check. So in the Carabao Cup game, it was Martial, Leslie, Deloitte. Was touch wide? Oh, Garnacho, Hannibal, Mount, Casemiro, Maguire, Varane, and Amrabat. I was like, is this correct? So basically on the attack, it basically looks something like this. Basically. So as you can see here, I don't know if I should do it bigger. So Pelistri basically came in, and then Mount or Hannibal basically filled the spot, and then Martial, he was playing a bit to the left. Garnacho, because there's no I feel like, because I'm speaking this way, yeah. So Martial, Garnacho, Maguire, Amrabat, Varane, and then Casemiro. Sometimes Amrabat was playing the Hannibal and Mount. And then sometimes Mount would also come in this position. Sometimes Deloitte would go inside into the midfield. But this was the basic shape. This was the basic shape. This is something you didn't see in the Premier League game. You didn't see it in the Premier League game. Obviously, Rashford. If Amrabat is playing left back, Rashford is not the guy to be playing touch tight on that left wing. He's just not that guy. He wants to drift in. That's his full game. That's what he's been doing for. How long has Rashford been playing? For like 7 years. I'm going to say 7 years. Rashford's been doing that. Now he's been asked to be touch tight and to be disciplined. And obviously Garnacho. Okay. Garnacho in this position, it's nothing for him. He is such a he's like a traditional modern winger. That's no problem for him being touch tight on that line. And they just need to be touch tight. Ten Hag doesn't care if they come all the way back down to the defense, and if they run all the way up, they just need to be touch tight because that's part of Ten Hag's system. And then in the midfield, there's so much freedom here. These guys here, they have so much freedom because Hannibal can come into this position. Deloitte can go into that position. And then Pelistri can stay out here as long as that formation is kept. That's all Ten Hag cares about. Even here, like sometimes it was Mount, sometimes it was Hannibal. Obviously Martial sometimes there or he was here. Even Martial came down into this midfield, into like this midfield position at the time. So you saw none of that when we played our better team. You just didn't see it. I mean, Bruno's somewhat lost. Bruno's a number 10. And that is why he's struggling. People saying Mount and Bruno cannot play together. But that's not the thing. It's like Bruno and Rashford. In this formation, Rashford needs to be on the right wing because he's a right footer. So I think that's the thing. If you're gonna be the winger, you need to be able. If you're gonna be on the left wing, you need to be able to cross with your left foot. If you're gonna be on the right wing, you need to be able to cross with your right foot. Otherwise, you're gonna be almost useless. The other thing is, in the Premier League, these players, the midfielders, all three of them, they have so much freedom. They have an immense amount of freedom. You saw Casemiro, he's going all the way down. You saw Mount go all the way down. There was times when Mount came up, Hannibal came down. It was like they have all the freedom in the world. They just need to be in positions, keeping the shape, but also being where the team needs them to be. So you saw in this shape, you saw like Deloitte can easily hold that position. Or, well, for you guys, it's on this side. Deloitte can easily hold that position. And Pelistri can easily hold that position. And they can just go up and down. Up and down. That's all they want. If the ball's here in the back line, come all the way down, help as a player, and then obviously you just go up with the ball. And it's the same on the other wing. And it's almost like it's so difficult for Rashford. I mean, for him to hold the touchline, he really struggles. But I do think bringing Rashford out to the right wing really makes a difference. And Ten Hag, this is a criticism Ten Hag. Okay, before I get on Ten Hag, people saying they can't see what Ten Hag is doing. That's not the problem is, especially in the Premier League game, now that we have all our players back, they are now learning the system. And especially in the Premier League game, it's like there were players in that team that it's almost like they didn't understand it. And the only players that came in was Bruno and Rashford. But also like Mason Mount, I saw him in the Carabao Cup game when Varane and Maguire had nobody to pass to. I saw Mason Mount come right down. You didn't see that in the Premier League game. I don't get it. I don't get it. So what? How we were nullified in the. Let me redo this and just make it slightly bigger so that I can put Crystal Palace in. And also Casemiro, he didn't help either. I don't understand why the players were so, I don't know what it was. They understood it so perfectly. I understand Crystal Palace had a B team and they weren't great, but that's no excuse, man. That's no excuse. They just didn't implement the tactics properly. So basically, what Crystal Palace done. So I'm gonna draw Crystal Palace in like 2 blocks. I'm not gonna draw the players. I'm gonna draw them in 2 blocks. Because that's how they played. They played in 2, or you can say they played in 3 blocks, but let's say they played in 2 blocks. So, so basically the blocks is the spaces that Crystal Palace was occupying. So in the small block over here, the one at the bottom, they had 4 players. They had 4 players, and basically the 4 players, they were the pressers. You know, they had like 2 separate teams. The 4 players were the pressers, and let's say Varane got the ball. Let's say Varane got the ball. Basically the one would go. So there's 4 players here across, and the one would go, and they would kind of like create like a C around Varane, like a C shape. They'd create a C shape around Varane. And Varane wouldn't be able to go forward. He wouldn't be able to go forward. And in the midfield, their midfielders pressed on our midfielders. So now they're creating a C around Varane or around Lindelof. And our midfielders is being pressed. But also, in the Premier League game, it was like we had one centre mid the whole time. And obviously Bruno's up here. Bruno is... You see, Hannibal was coming deep, but Bruno wasn't doing that. So let's just take that out and say, okay, so Bruno was playing like somewhere over there. But Hannibal was coming down the whole time. When the team needed help, Hannibal was coming down the whole time. So that's why in my previous slide, I said that the midfield, they were like a flat 3. Because Hannibal, Casemiro, and Mount, they were coming down and they were going up. They had absolute freedom, and there wasn't number 10 positions or deep line midfielders. Amrabat was like the deep line midfielder, or sometimes Casemiro, and the rest of them, whoever filled those other gaps, they were free, man. They just needed to be within the shape of the team, or when there was a passing position that needed to be held so that our team didn't get stuck in the back line. That wasn't happening in the Premier League game. So now there's a C shape around Varane. Let's say, and he cannot pass into the midfield because for some reason, like, I don't know where Mount was, but Amrabat was like chilling here. Casemiro, he was like chilling like a bit up here. He was like, nobody was helping Varane and Lindelof. Like the midfield in the Premier League game, they were dead. I don't get it. Mount came down a few times and he carried the ball up the field. But they just did not, what's the word? Execute the game plan. They didn't execute the game plan. And the thing, people are saying that Ten Hag doesn't have a plan B. Yes, he doesn't have a plan B, kind of, and he's digging his own grave. But the thing is, Pep Guardiola doesn't have a plan B. So these kind of system managers, they very rarely change their plans because they want to be able to play their way no matter what they face. And the only way to do that is to make sure that the players execute it no matter what they face. So whenever we are even struggling, he basically doesn't do too much. He doesn't do too much because he wants the players to apply what they did in training. And yeah, some people in the comments, you guys are going to say that I'm talking shit or sorry for the language or whatever, but if you've just watch the Carabao Cup game and Do the same exercise I done. Watch the Carabao Cup game. You don't need to watch the whole game. You just need to watch until you understand what the system is. And then watch the Premier League game. And you can see immediately, you can see what's missing. You can see it. It's there. I'm sure everybody that watches this channel has some sort of football IQ. You can immediately see what's missing, man. It doesn't take you long. I promise you, watch the first 10 minutes even. Watch the first 10 minutes of each game. And you will see a massive difference. A massive difference. Now, obviously, Bruno needs to be working harder. He's not the number 10 in this formation. Unless he is playing next to the striker. If there's a midfielder missing, he needs to drop into that position because that is how this works. We bold play from the back. That's why we got Onana. We got Mount. We bringing in Hannibal because they're good carriers of the ball. Even Casemiro has proven he's a good carrier of the ball. So the people that play in the midfield, they transition the play because they are good carriers of the ball and they can pass. And the wingers, they stay touch tight to keep the width so they can come deep. Rashford was not coming deep. Watch Garnacho. There's a time early in the game when in the Carabao Cup game where it's like the centre backs don't know where to pass and he just comes as long as he's on that line. Ten Hag doesn't care. He just comes to fetch the ball as long as he's on that line. So there is basically triangles being created all over the pitch, and that is the way to play position football. But in order for the triangles to be created, basically the players need to work. And there was players, I'm calling out Mount, and I'm calling out Casemiro, especially in the Premier League game, because they were not working. Wow. Yeah, they were not working as hard to give our centre backs options. I think that's the right thing. They were not working as hard. I won't say they weren't working, but they weren't working as hard to give our centre backs that option to pass them into the midfield, because that is an important part of our play. Going back to Onana is like, yeah, you can recycle the ball, but you can't do that the whole time. You can't do that the whole time. You need to give the defense options, and as soon as they get that option, we will start playing football. So guys, there is blame on Ten Hag. He is digging his own grave, but he's doing it. I think he's doing it because he's thinking about the team and them implementing that system in adversity. But anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you understand what I was trying to get across. And I know it's a bit of a longer video, but I hope you understand, and I hope you can also see what I'm seeing. And if you don't see what I'm seeing, I promise you guys, just go watch both videos. Go onto the Manchester United website, watch both videos, and you'll see, just watch the first 10 minutes of each game, and you'll be able to see, maybe longer, maybe first 20 even, but first 10 even, and you'll be able to see what I'm saying, man. You'll be able to see the system that was there and the system that wasn't there, and you'll pick up why it wasn't there. You'll pick up on the players why it wasn't there. But anyway, guys, I truly hope you enjoyed the video. If you glazed out, don't forget to like and subscribe. Also, share this video with other people if you want to. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Safety in numbers, guys.